What a load of shit that was. They give you a little bit of hope, a couple of good performances, and then something like today happens. We have all, unfortunately, unless you're a Newcastle fan or someone that hates Chelsea, just had to witness Newcastle 4, Chelsea 1. Here's my post-game review. Right, so Newcastle come out the traps a lot faster than Chelsea with a lot more intensity, which surprises me, The main sort of thing we were looking at this game that could be going against Newcastle is the injury crisis, which they obviously have. Now, first off, they were able to field a massively strengthened team in comparison to what I thought they'd be able to put out there. But look, let's not, forget that some of these players like Isak were coming back from injuries. He came off in the 80th minute, which was a good run-in for him. Had it been a more intense match, you may have seen him come off a lot quicker, but ultimately Chelsea did not offer the sort of intensity. You can see how Chelsea lined up on screen now. Obviously, Battered coming back in there. He hasn't actually started a match since the cup game against Blackburn, a match I was at, a match that I thought he looked well in, but today, again, with everyone else looking a little bit off it, one man who also looked massively off it was his centre-back partner, Thiago Silva. We will get onto his performance, but as you can see now, that's how Chelsea lined up. The other noticeable absentee was Caicedo. Obviously, look, I've spoke before about midweek football and international breaks, I should say, really hindering some of our players. And when you look at the fact that our two central midfielders are both travelling to South America for their international duties, it's not ideal. And obviously today we saw that Caicedo wasn't ready and available to start the game. He came off the bench, couldn't make a difference. Not that he would have anyway. Let's quickly recap the match. So Newcastle starting off stronger. The ball drops to Lewis Miley outside the box. I don't know whether it dropped, but he had it outside the box. He slots it through, and Alexander Isak, I've been in trouble for saying his name wrong. I just speak how I speak. He produced a lovely finish. He got it out of his feet real quick. Striker's instinct, puts it past Sanchez. At that point, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, do you know what? This is going to end up being 3 or 4 to Newcastle, because we really weren't playing well. We weren't finding any space. They were attacking us, and before I'd said that sometimes it was suiting Chelsea to sit back and catch teams on the counter-attack. Today, it just wasn't working at all. We were having no luck, but then around 10 minutes later, Chelsea win a free kick. We see Thiago Silva, Reece James and Raheem Sterling stood over the ball. Now, I had to scratch my head here because I've never actually seen Raheem Sterling convert a free kick, right? And I was thinking that's the first one he's ever scored. Raheem Sterling steps up, he whips in the free kick and has Nick Pope absolutely rooted to the spot. A brilliant free kick by Raheem Sterling. Took everyone, including myself, by surprise. Definitely Nick Pope by surprise. And Raheem Sterling scores that free kick. It was actually not his first free kick he scored. He scored one during the lockdown behind closed doors games for Manchester City. No one remembers, neither do I. But for me, it was his first free kick he scored, and what a way to open your account. And if we're going to take one small positive from today's performance, and I do use the word performance loosely, it can maybe be Raheem Sterling's goal involvement there, meaning it is 8 goal involvements in 12 starts in all competitions for Chelsea this season. However, there were very little, if any, in fact there were none. No more positives to take from the match. After that, we had a couple of small chances, I can't remember who slotted it over the top, but a ball comes over the top early in the second half to Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson tries to cut it back. He doesn't have the striker's instinct to be able to just put his foot through the ball, There's always that chance that if you just put something towards goal, even if it doesn't go in, something might happen. We remember the goal that drew us level against Burnley when Raheem Sterling had a masterclass at Turf Moor. The goal that drew us level. Now, Raheem Sterling was putting that box into an area near the goal where he knew that no one was really going to get onto it, but he gambled on the fact that it might take a deflection and it ended up in the back of the net. When that ball goes over the top to Nicholas Jackson, he needs to put his foot through that ball, but ultimately, he didn't. He tries to cut it back, as he did in the match against Burnley, and that one paid off trumps for him and he ended up scoring. But against Newcastle, you are looking at a whole different beast, and you're going to struggle massively to be able to get anything against Newcastle, especially not when you're really trying to take your time with something in their box. Kieran Trippier, he had a chance, didn't he? I think that was actually before the end of the first half, was it? When he hit the bar. It looked like a really good Sanchez save at first, actually. On the replay, we noticed it was off the bar. Do you know what? I do think that Robert Sanchez would have got there to it had it been on target. It looked like he had it covered, but who cares at this point? Enzo Fernandez, he drew a really good save from Nick Pope. The ball was cut back to him, shot on target. Nick Pope, really good save from that one. But yeah, first half, Newcastle looking the much livelier team, way more creative, despite the injuries, way more energetic. And Chelsea, for once in a while, just looking massively, massively flat. Even our go-to players at the moment, Conor Gallagher, he was getting about, cutting stuff out. But again, he was looking flat. Cole Palmer, pretty non-existent in this match. And look, he's had a lot of good performances, so you can give him that. But it's not ideal. Let's talk about the second half. Obviously, it starts. I've spoke about the Jackson chance there. That happens. A few other little bits and pieces. Nothing too interesting. And then in the space of 90 seconds... Newcastle United score twice. The first coming in the 60th minute, a ball's whipped into the box. Can't remember who it's by, but Jamal Lascelles is there to meet it with a header. And mate, he put that one away like any striker should, let alone a centre-back. So really, really good. Then we've got the ball in our back line. Obviously, Joe Linton is running towards Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva is also just about spotting Isaac out of the corner of his eye. And he just fumbles the bag completely when he's on the ball. Disastrous mistake, losing his footing and allowing his countryman Joe Linton to go through, finish from close range. 70th minute, Reece James gets sent off for a second bookable offence. I thought this was really, really soft, right? So just hear me out before you get in the comments and jump down my throat. I thought it was really, really soft in terms of the contact. Yeah, Reece James does touch Anthony Gordon. It's so minimal. It's so funny to see these players go into the ground like that. Would I have liked my player to do that? Had, he been through on goal and had an opportunity to put the opposition down to 10 men? Yes, of course I would have liked my player to have done that. So nothing against Newcastle there, nothing against Anthony Gordon. I get it. Poor game management from us. Naivety. Massive, massive naivety. So it is what it is. 83rd minute, that man, Anthony Gordon. Now my friend Brian, the true Geordie, texted me and said, sit down, Cole Palmer. There's the real star boy. And do you know what? When we're looking at performances so far this season, Cole Palmer's drawing plenty of plaudits, as I'm sure Anthony Gordon is. But I tell you what, I'm not getting gassed up off one match. I think when you look at the two of them now, you're looking at it and going, if there is to be a sort of shock young inclusion in that England squad, Anthony Gordon's got just as good a chance as Cole Palmer at the moment. I think they're very different players, although they play in similar positions. Very, very different players. But Anthony Gordon, lovely bit of footwork to get the better about his shield there, and then finishes off. He drills home Newcastle's fourth, past Sanchez, and that's all she wrote. Painful, very, very painful. But listen, I like Newcastle. I like the Geordies. I like the people up there. They're very good people. Obviously, my friend Brian, if you're watching this, Brian, congratulations, mate. It is what it was. Is what it was. It's not saying, is it? I don't know, man. I don't really know what to say on it. Let me give Newcastle their praise. I thought Anthony Gordon was really good, as I said. Trippier was another man, was really good. We did start Palmer and Reece James on that right-hand side, as I was saying. They did start Livramento, a right footer at left-back, as I was predicting. But, out of contrast, in terms of what I was predicting, Livramento fared really, really well. Palmer and Reece James were not able, to give him the sort of problems that I was anticipating them to maybe be able to. Lewis Miley, 17 years of age. What a mature head on young shoulders. And he'll be one for the future, I'm sure. He came off to a standing ovation at the end. Well deserved. Really, really good players. Very impressed by him. Newcastle as a whole. Do you know what? I'm one of these men, I should say, that goes on sort of law of averages quite a lot. And one of the things that I'll often say is, law of averages would suggest we got to get a win here because we've been losing and whatnot. Law of averages would have told you that Newcastle were going to win that match, because this Newcastle side have got something very, very special. And this Newcastle side, for my money, do not lose 3 matches on the bounce. We should have known that something big was coming from them today, and I almost did know that. I know people can pull up, the receipts of me saying that we'd win here, but I did know that they had that in them, but I was banking on that injury crisis being more than it was on the day, and obviously it wasn't. Massive credit to Newcastle, massive credit to Eddie Howe. Well done. Where did Chelsea go from here? Well, I know at the Brighton match next week, we're now going to be without Reece James because of the ban from the red card. And we're also going to be without Marc Cucurella, who obviously picked up another booking. And let me just tell you one thing about Chelsea's record with bookings. It is ridiculous. I know we've been in some big matches, and big matches are often fiery, and you'll see more of these sort of bookings come to the surface in these big games when players start to lose their heads a little bit. But my God, it ain't good, man. We're picking up 4, 5, 6 yellow cards every single match, and the rest when you include the red cards we've had so far this season as well. It just really ain't good. And I think that with all the benefits that a young side can have when it comes to the energy, the sort of the ignorance of youth, and the tenacity that these young players can have, one thing they don't have is good game management and good experience, and the bookings of really being a problem for us at the minute. We've now seen Cucurella miss a match because of bookings. We've seen Jackson miss a match because of bookings. He's nearly at the point where he misses another one. Reece James because of a red card. Malo Gusto because of a red card. Am I forgetting more? Probably. I don't know, but something needs to be done about that. I need to start upping the fines. Maybe that'll stop the boys. But yeah, just a bit of poor game management from us. Does it change where I think we'll finish this season? Well, look, Champions League spots aren't looking good, are they? Because, if you can't beat teams that are well structured like a Newcastle, when it was 1-1, again, being that we were playing Newcastle, I text my friend Brian, a true Geordie, and I said to him, mate, I would love a draw here. I would take it because you boys are a lot better than us today. And if we had finished that game 1-1, listen, if my auntie had a set of bollocks, she'd be my uncle. But if we had finished that game 1-1, I'd have given us a lot of credit because I said, do you know what? In a game where we didn't play well, we were able to get over the line. But we just weren't able to do that today. As I say, touching on individual performances, Sanchez, average, thought he could have been better. I also thought he could have been worse. Battered, I've got to give him a bit of slack because he's been out of the team for so long. Thiago Silva, not great today. Maybe my vision's blurred from that one individual mistake, but I don't think he was great. A lot of players, man. Cucurella lost his man. It looked by things for Isaac's goal at the start. Well, creative players weren't at it. Nicholas Jackson showing a real lack of number 9 instinct. So yeah, we just got to wait for Nkunku to come back. Hopefully that changes things a little bit. I don't want to throw my toys out the pram here because Chelsea have put together a couple of really good performances and a couple of good wins, and there are a lot of positives to take going forward. I do think that the downside of Chelsea's form being inconsistent, the downside of that inconsistency is the fact that there'll be games like let's say, for example, the Man City game or the Spurs game, and you've got no guarantee. You never have a guarantee in football, but you've got no certainty that Chelsea are then going to go on and push on and continue that form. That's the downside of it. Here's the positive of it. The positive is you've got a game like today where we're absolutely pony, and then we very much could go and put Brighton to the sword and go and win against them. We could lose again against Brighton or have a stalemate against Brighton and draw 0-0 and then go to Old Trafford a few days later and beat them. That's the way it is for this Chelsea side at the moment. Inconsistency. And that is what is going to continue over the course of this season until these boys mature together, start to gel together, and until it starts to push on. Sorry, guys. It's sorry again. I beg my pardon. Yep, it's a bit of a blur today. Bit all over the place, but I did think I'd get something out to you lot. Let me know your lot's performances. I want you to tell me what you thought went wrong today. I want you to try and inspire me to have a bit more positivity. Why am I not right to be very doom and gloom tonight? I don't know if anyone's going to be able to change my mind on why I'm not right to be down in the dumps tonight. But listen, life goes on. It is what it is. Still think we get Europa League spots. I genuinely do think that because I think that our squad depth's good. Hopefully we've had our sort of bad luck with injuries, and now even say for example today, right? We saw Ugachukwu play where Caicedo wasn't available. Now we talk about these injuries, right? Romeo Lavia would if he was sort of integrated into the team well and had some minutes under his belt, would be a brilliant replacement for an Ugachukwu in that. For a Caicedo in that situation. We don't have the luxury of that because he's still coming back from injury. When things aren't working up top with Nicholas Jackson, instead of bringing Broha on, maybe we would push, who I'm guessing would already be on the pitch, Nkunku into that position. When Cole Palmer comes off, of course there'd been a red card by then, but maybe at some point we have Chukwuemeka to come back on, who was looking like one of our best players earlier on in the season. So there's so many variables. I suppose all we can do is wait and see. Tomorrow, I will be on the kickoff for the Man United against Everton match, so make sure you lot are tuned in to the kickoff tomorrow. I think we go live at 4 p.m. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already. It will be on my story. Guys, keep me in your thoughts. Because that was painful.